87% of realtors get into the business and get out of the business in 2 years. That doesn't exist in our world.
We have massive visions around growing our businesses, and we are always looking to add talent to our world. We do everything in our power to ensure the people we surround ourselves with defy the odds, get into production, and build massive lives for themselves.
If you are a realtor looking to get into the business, we have a blueprint for success.
With locations all across Canada, reach out to us. Let's talk about partnership and opportunities. We are looking forward to it. Welcome back, Sales Beast listeners. Today we have an extra special episode for you. Mike and I just got back from Austin, Texas after a jam-packed week of learning, growing, networking, and we're really excited to share some of the takeaways that we got from MegaAgent Camp 2022. Mike, how's it going?
It's great, Anna. So you spoke about Mega Camp. We had a lot of fun outside of Mega Camp too. I saw you scooting around. Austin's a cool city there.
No scooters.
No scooters for you. I was scooting around the whole time. Lots of great restaurants, an amazing pool, and a lot of fun.
But yeah, and you had just gotten like a big run up from attending a Tony Robbins event just before. So I think you were pretty hyped up about just learning and growing, right?
I still am.
Yeah.
For anyone that hasn't been to a Tony Robbins event, I highly recommend it. Yeah, so Anna, Mega Camp was jam-packed with information. I would say almost more than you could absorb. I know I'm going to be going back next year. Talk to me. What was your biggest takeaway over the course of the week that we were in Austin?
The biggest takeaway I had, which we're going to cover a couple topics here, I know, but like my biggest takeaway is just getting back to the basics. Like really summing it down, getting back to the basics when we're so busy and caught up in what's happening in the market, especially the past, year or 2 years through COVID that we saw, and a crazy market growing, prices inflating, a lot of those things. We tend to forget about doing the activities because our phone is just ringing all the time, versus now when our phone is not ringing, we should already be in those activities. But I feel like most agents are not. So getting back to the basics, like focusing on the 5 jobs of a realtor, which we talk about so often, but I think it's still overlooked and it's still not followed through upon because we get caught up in that day-to-day. So just a constant reminder of getting back to the activities and focusing on your one thing. What is the one thing that you can do today that's going to drive your business forward such that nothing else matters?
Yeah, I don't know what things are like in your office, but I think in our office, realtors have been very spoiled over the course of the last 2 years. And you could get away from doing those 5 activities and the results would show up because, like you said, the phone would ring. There's this quote I heard recently. I might butcher it, but I'll try my best. When the tide goes out, you see you swimming naked. And I think a lot of people in my office, probably in your office, probably in every real estate office in North America right now are naked, or at least halfway there. And it's because we didn't do the activities we knew we should have been doing, because the market it rewarded us regardless of what we did. Yeah, so I know in our office on our team, that's the big messaging right now. I know it sucks to have to actually work to make money, but if you want to make money in the future, the opportunity's out there. Yeah, it's a little bit harder, absolutely, but for those of us that are working, they're still doing deals and doing a lot of them. One thing I always think back to, Anna, is when I started in the business, it was right after the 2017 shift. And I was so green. I knew nothing about selling real estate. I knew nothing about houses. I knew nothing about sales, nothing. And I think that was the biggest blessing I could have ever had, because if I had my eyes open and knew what was going on in the marketplace at that time, I wouldn't have put my head down and actually worked. And I remember going to the brokerage. It's my first day on the job. My team leader at the time brought me to a training. And I looked at all these people and they looked so sad and they were moping and they were upset because they came out of a strong market like the one we were just in, and everything it stopped. Yeah, but for me, ignorance was bliss. In that so-called soft market, I sold 50 houses my first year in the business. And I see people on our team. We brought a guy on a month ago and he's already signed 4 listings. Yeah.
It's proof that the market isn't the reality. It's really your mindset around the market and how you're communicating and being intentional with the people that you're approaching about an opportunity, whether it's to buy, to sell, to invest, etc. And also, I think when it comes down to it, like, we didn't really have to convince people through COVID to sell their house or to buy a house. Well, some of them maybe, but mainly, like, there was a lot of activity, lots of stuff happening. And now it's that skill set that may have been missing that is showing. So like you said, when the tide goes down, it shows who's naked. Now we're going to see the realtors that may not be as skillful really struggle to catch up to the ones that have been focusing and training on their skills, scripting every single day, practicing dialogues, understanding what's happening day in and day out in the market. So even like from the Humber program, we know that there's, I think it's an 80% dropout rate from the courses themselves. So only 20% of those people actually go through and get licensed. And then from that 20%, 90% of them fail in their first 2 years of business. So again, I think that number is probably going to crunch down even smaller from all the people that may have been unemployed or decided to make a move into real estate over the past 2 years. We're probably going to see a big dropout of ththose people in the industry.
Mm-hmm. We always joke in our office, that term, the 3P realtor.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a 3P realtor. Put a sign in the yard, place on the MLS, and then pray that someone comes along and buys it. But in the market we were just in, it moved so quickly. That's really all you had time to do. Now, if you have the skill set and you're working your skills over the course of the last couple of years, or if you're in the process of playing catch up, there's a massive opportunity here. Because when we go to market, homes they're sitting for 2 weeks to 2 months. So there's a huge opportunity to build trust and relationships with the clients we're in. And I don't know about what's going on in your office, but in my world, you're getting into a lot more unique situations. There are now inspections, which there weren't before. Appraisals aren't coming in. Homes aren't closing. And I know those are terrible things, but as professionals, we can guide our clients through that process and provide them the support they need in order to get to their goals. And I know as realtors, we do a lot of fluff, like closing gifts and dinners, and I do it. But in my mind, that's not true value. Staging someone's house is not value. Providing someone with a bottle of wine when their house closes is not value. But being in the trenches with someone who is facing a bad situation due to the environment we're in, and helping them navigate through it and successfully accomplish what they were looking to do, that's value. And I think if you can do that for someone and keep in touch with them over time, that's where you can really generate a true repeat referral business. A lot of us thought we had a repeat referral business over the course of the last 2 years. I say bullshit to that. I know my phone's not ringing anymore. But now we can truly add value and create lifelong relationships with our clients.
For sure. When you were just talking now, I kind of thought back to when Gary was on stage. Gary Keller was talking about kind of a market update, giving not just like a real estate market update, but a huge economic update of what's happening in the world. And we tend to do that at any of these massive conferences that we go to. He talked about, 3 pretty big risks that are impacting our economy right now, which are, if the US Reserve over tightens, if there's global spillover from the slowing Chinese economy, if there's escalation of global conflicts and trade barriers, such as what we're seeing like in Ukraine and Russia. I mean, those are all real factors. And I think as professionals as well, we need to be at least somewhat educated in what's happening, how it can affect us, and then how in turn it's going to affect our clients. Because our clients realistically are going to get most of their education from the media, which we know over the past couple of months hasn't been a great portrayal of what's actually happening. And then you have the not so skillful realtors going out there and resharing those media posts or those articles and scaring the buyers, scaring the sellers into not transacting even when they might actually really need to. So if you have that knowledge and you're able to communicate it effectively, so your clients have a really great understanding of what's happening and how it's going to impact them and their lives, I think that was a massive takeaway for me. like being that realtor / economist of choice for your people. And when you're educating them like that at a high level, that's when you really do create that relationship you were talking about. And they're not just going to want to work with you again, but they're going to want to tell people about how that experience helped them understand better about the process that they went through.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, Gary mentioned something when he was giving the economic update. He gave us a forecast. I don't know if you heard it, but he mentioned that he thinks rates will come down. It's something David said, our mortgage broker, when we had him on a couple of weeks ago. I heard him say that he thinks in 18 to 24 months rates will come down. And I don't know about you, but I think it's such a good opportunity to be out there buying homes at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny with human beings. We're we have very much of a herd mentality, I would say. And you can see that literally in February, which is only a few months ago, everyone wanted to buy a house, which made no sense because houses are stupid expensive. Now no one wants to buy a house.
Or people are waiting
sense.
for the bottom, and there's realistically, we already probably surpassed that bottom point of the market.
Yeah, I don't understand that piece. I think for a lot of people, they think when times are tough, which they are right now, interest rates are high, payments are high. They think they're always going to be tough. And then we saw that back in January, February, March, when times are good and prices go up and up and up and up and up, and everyone's making lots of money. We think they're always going to be. We're always going to be in a great situation, which is simply not the case.
Well, that adds to your point too. Like Gary did say when he was diving into the shift tactics, I've got the book right here with me. So if you haven't read this book, it's perfect book for this time. And really it's timeless. So you can utilize all the tactics in this book at any time. But he talked about how, I mean, what we're facing right now has happened before, maybe not to this scale or not to what we're experiencing exactly, but it's going to happen again, maybe even worse. And because history repeats itself, it always has, always will, and it's cyclical, the economy is also the same. And although shifts are not predictable, they're at least expected. So if you're, again, coming back to our original takeaways, like if you're doing those activities, no matter what happens, if there's a shift coming, you're going to be better prepared and you're going to end up taking more market share than actually losing that market share.
Okay. Next takeaway, Anna.
Next takeaway. So talked a little bit about the market there. And one thing I'll mention too is we'll put our MegaCamp notes on our website, which you can find at salesbeast.ca. So you can take a look at everything that we took away from MegaCamp more in depth. The next thing we wanted to talk about, both Mike and I are in leadership positions where we have the opportunity to be in business with some amazing people. And sometimes that allows us to get time back in our lives. Sometimes it allows us to take on more tasks. And I think that we took a lot in terms of how to leverage what opportunities we have as professionals to leverage both our time, our money, and our effort. So I know, Mike, you had some takeaways about that. Do you want to share what those were?
Yeah, so I'm always looking at ways to leverage myself out of the business. At some point, I would like to have the ability not to have to show up and have things still function the same way they would as if I was here. Now, one thing I was exposed to at MegaCamp was leverage in your personal life. And there was one person in particular, I don't remember their name. They were running a massive team. They were doing about 500 deals a year. And she super well leveraged in her business, but life outside of business was falling apart. She had some kids and a husband and a busy life like all of us. And I don't know what clicked with her, but she added one piece of leverage in her personal life. I think it was a cleaner, someone that would come in, clean the house, do the laundry. And just that small shift took a lot of weight off of her plate. And I know the conversation she had because I've had this thought before, like, why do I do my own laundry if I go to work and make $500 an hour? Why is someone that makes $500 an hour doing a $20 an hour job? Or why am I mowing my own lawn when I make $250 an hour and I can pay someone $20 an hour or $15 an hour to do that? Mm-hmm. Why am I taking care of my kids all the time, tiring myself out and not being fully present with my children when I can pay someone $15 to take some of that time off my hands. And this lady just snowballed with it. And she literally leveraged out her whole household. So it started off with a cleaner, then that cleaner started doing laundry. Then she hired someone to do the grass. I think she lived down south, so she doesn't have the same problem we have with snow. And then, yeah, I think this woman had 2 nannies. Yeah, but literally her whole personal life was taken care of, so she could go to work, be fully present, and she's crushing it, doing 500 deals a year, and then come home and be fully present as a mother and a wife. And I thought, what a beautiful thing to strive for. When I was at Tony Robbins, actually, he was talking about something along those lines. So he said there are a few things you can spend your money on. One is stuff. That'd be the new car, the new TV, all those things that we think will make us happy. Secondly, you can spend your time on experiences, which we always talk about that. Experiences are going to drive more value and make us happier than spending money on stuff. And then thirdly, when I didn't hear, I've not been exposed to, is spend money on things that will give you your time back. Since I've gotten, it really drove the message home. I heard Tony Robbins say that, it didn't really click. Why would I spend money on something that would give my time back? And then I was fortunate enough to sit in on a seminar and listen to this woman explain exactly why you should spend money on things that will give you your time back. And that's really my focus. I knew stuff versus experiences. I think everyone does. And I focus on experiences, but I think going forward, I'm going to place a far greater focus on leveraging out my personal life. So when I get to the office, I love what I do for a living. And sometimes I'm tired. So get rid of the shit I don't want to do. I don't like cooking. I don't like cleaning. I don't like any of that. And I can show up in the morning just like amped and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make more money because of that.
Yeah, that's such a good message, because people don't tend to think that way, right? Like they want to do everything themselves because they think that they can probably do it better or save money doing it. But realistically, your time is valuable. And I mean, I think about, like, for example, like Elon Musk or someone like that, where, they're building wealth for people past our lifetimes. Like his legacy will still live on. The companies that he's building will still live on way past our lifetime. And that's because he probably has a shit ton of leverage, right?
Mhm.
Like we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and he can accomplish what he needs to do for the things that he needs to do because of the people, the systems, whatever around him. And so my takeaways around leverage were a little bit differently. We're a little bit different, although I agree with all your points. We had the opportunity to sit in on an exclusive mastermind with Flip Space. Shout out Sean Provenche. And there was this guy, Reed Moore, who's been in a 7th level business. For those that don't know, essentially, when you get to 7th level, you are replacing yourself in the business. And that's essentially what he did. He's been in that position for, I think, about 5 or 6 years, where he actually doesn't have to show up and be in the business. And he's got an amazing woman that leads his organization. So when I was thinking about leverage, I was thinking about how to have the constant thought in your head about who is my replacement. And we talk a lot about that in like in between us and whatnot, but it's such a good message. Like, who is going to take over for the things that you're doing today so that you can move on to your next opportunity? And if you have that constant thought in your head, if you ask yourself that, like, every day, every week, every month, then eventually when that person comes into your world, that question is already at the top of your mind. And you're way more likely to be able to leverage yourself in whatever aspect you need to. My second thought around that was something he mentioned around finding that leverage and then coaching them, is there's really 3 pillars that you need to focus on with the people that you surround yourself with, which is skill set, mindset, and effort. So if one of those 3 things is not up to par, like, that's really where you have to hyper focus on with them to get them to the level that you need to be. I think it's through career visioning. We talk about the rising star talent versus the proven talent versus what's the other one? The rock star talent. So it's like, if you do find somebody, there's so many great people out there in this world, like, unfortunately just haven't had the right opportunity. They could be working at McDonald's or in some other organization that never allowed them the opportunity to enter into a field like real estate. But you should be looking for those 3 things: skill set, mindset, and effort. And if at least the effort is there, I mean, the mindset can be coached to and the skill set can be taught, versus if they don't have any of those, then likely they're probably not a good fit, and it's going to be very hard for you to get into business with them.
Yeah, this is somewhat off topic, but I was fortunate before I went to MegaCamp to be hanging out with two extremely high producing realtors, probably two of the largest in the country. And they're always on the road. They're always traveling. You know who they are, Anna. I think we've had both of them on this podcast. But when they're away, they're not worrying about their teams. They're constantly focused on growth. Where am I going next? And they're focused on the growth of the people on their team. And I think I always used to wonder, I'd have this internal conversation with myself, Mike, why would you want to get to 7th level when you love your job more than any other job you've had in the past? You love working with the people, you love doing what you do. There's not much about this job I don't enjoy. But I really think it comes down to growth. And that's what I experienced over the last 2 weeks. If you're 7th level, you can be off giving yourself proximity to other people that are doing things at a far higher level than you could have ever imagined. You can go to courses like MegaCamp or Tony Robbins or Family Reunion or anything. It's a big world with so many great programs out there that you can learn from. And you can bring that home to your business.
Yeah.
You're away and others have to run your business without you necessarily being there to answer their questions every time a question comes up. It's the ultimate growth opportunity for your team.
Yeah, like I'm experiencing that right now. Like I just got back. I'm leaving in a week and I'm gone for like 3 weeks. And I even told my team this, like, I want you guys to fail. I want things to break. I want to see where the gaps are. And that's going to just make us so much stronger. And if I leave for 3 weeks and I come back and it's been 10 times better than when I was here, perfect. I can, take a longer vacation next year. So, yeah, I think it's the same thing to what we were saying before, is like people want to be in their business and sometimes it's not the best thing. There's people that can help you and that are probably going to do it far better than you. So just let them do it and get out of their way. Let them fail, because that's when they'll actually really learn.
What is the guy's name, Anna? I should know this. I heard him speak a couple weeks ago and I'm reading his book right now, The Road Less Stupid. Keith Cunningham. He was talking about business owners versus business operators. I don't know if you've ever heard him speak. He's a really funny guy and I highly recommend the book. I know he's got some courses too.
So I was literally on a call before this and I heard his quote, which is, business operators get tired, business owners get rich, and business leaders get wealthy.
I think the last piece, our favorite leader created himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Sandy took that one to the next level. That really, really resonated with me. If you constantly operate as a business operator, it is very tiring. Because you're always trying to balance working on the business versus working in the business. And in our business, we all got in to be salespeople. So I don't know about you, but I'm naturally drawn to working in the business, not on the business. But like
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I love the operational side, and I think that's a gift and a curse, because you want to have your hands in so many things, but it's not the most productive. And it's not going to get you the best results.
For me, sometimes I get the itch and I want to pick up the phone and spend a day with the guys just cold calling. I truly enjoy doing that and booking appointments and going on appointments. But for me, where I'm at, that's not what's going to drive us forward in the long term.
For sure. So I think the last thing that we just wanted to end on as our final note is the perspective of the new KW slogan, which I think is super impactful. And we saw it sprayed everywhere through MegaCamp, on posters, flyers, big billboards. And it's where entrepreneurs thrive. And I think if you think about it, that's like the perfect way to summarize what Keller Williams is. It's the business that creates business owners and business leaders, if we want to take it to that level. But what was your takeaways around that, if you have any, or what gets you excited about the future of this?
Realtors, we all get into this business with a mission, and it's different for everyone. For some people, it's we want to make as much money as possible, as fast as possible. I think that's probably what it is for a lot of people, which is good to get you going, but it won't keep you going. It gets boring pretty quick. For others, it's just purely to serve people. I want to help as many people as possible get to their goals. There are a lot of different reasons why you could potentially get in this business, but I think as a realtor, you're capped, because I'm just one person with 24 hours in the day. I can't create an additional block of time for myself on a daily basis. But by going from salesperson to business owner, you can truly do that. Like, there are an unlimited number of hours in the day, and there is an unlimited amount of money you can make if that's your goal. One great salesperson whose mission is to help a lot of people, if they switch their mindset from I'm a salesperson to I'm a business owner, you can help an unlimited number of people. And really, I think that's when you can truly have an impact on the world or on your community.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to just being super intentional. I think they talked a lot about this at the beginning. It's being intentional actually determines how high you can go and how far you can go when you have a really big goal. So people want to be creative, and they'll try and implement systems from scratch and, think about different ways to do the business. But that's when you can easily really disrupt your business versus, starting small, really mastering it, and then thinking big, versus going too big too fast and then falling even harder and faster. But again, intentionality is they said a analogy, which was being intentional in your business is like your health. Too many people wait until they're really sick to get healthy. And your business is the same way. How intentional are you right now about what needs to get done before the tough times come? We don't have to be super intentional about everything, just the things that are important, which again leads us back to the same point from the beginning, just your activities. How intentional are you about getting those activities done day in and day out?
Yeah. It's pretty surreal when you sit in that room. I honestly didn't expect that many people to be there. And as I sat in that room and saw people up on stage and learned about their businesses and their lives and how successful they were, it really made me feel as though I was a small thinker. Because the sky is really the limit in terms of money, impact, growth. The reason I thought that is because you have this man, Gary Keller, on stage, and he, for all intents and purposes, is running the largest real estate team in the world. What he has done is how large it can get. And I'm sure it can get even larger than that. And that proved to me that you can't just be a salesperson and have maximum impact. Yeah. You really need to take it to the next level. Tens of thousands of people in that room. And he's changing all of their lives.
Well, there was a video released about the where entrepreneurs thrive, about the whole motto. Did you get a chance to watch that video?
No.
I'll send it to you. We'll put on our website as well. But it's the whole video is like narrated and done by John Keller, who's the son of Gary Keller. And at one point he says, "We want you to out Keller Gary Keller, like out Gary Gary." It's like, how can we, like the next generation, as Gary inevitably will step down in the future, we take it over and we continue to push the mission, the vision of the company. And yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think those were some really impactful takeaways, Mike, and thank you for sharing. I'm sure we have tons more. Like I mentioned, we'll post our notes on the Sales Beast website at salesbeast.ca. And we're looking forward to more takeaways from Tony Robbins in November. When are we going? November
3rd.
November 3rd. So we'll do an update around then so that you guys can hear what we learn.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm